everyone, today I will be showing you how I make my dragon puppets. I'm just gonna go over like the different type of like materials you can make them out of and how that will affect like their durability. First we have just the standard printer paper puppet, not double lined either. They do end up being quite flimsy and stuff. If they're like made for a small puppet and you're not gonna be like doing tons of like outdoor crazy stuff with it, but overall I don't really recommend it. Second is double lined cardstock. I actually really recommend this one. It can get super flimsy though if it's like very small detailed, but overall I do really like the double lined cardstock one. Then we just have like the thin cardboard, like this one is a popcorn box, but this is very good stuff. Highly recommend this. Then finally we just have the straight up cardboard dragon. Celine is also cardboard. They do get really heavy, so if you're planning on making like a big puppet, don't really make it out of cardboard. I plan on doing it like the thin cardboard just so it's like less heavy and it's easier to puppet. I make all my dragons the exact same unless double lined, and for this tutorial I will be having a double lined puppet. If you're doing a cardboard one without double lining, you can just skip that part, but yeah, I make them all the exact same no matter what material they are. Next we're gonna need some materials like whatever you're coloring with. It could be paint, some scissors, a pencil, a hot glue gun. And then for my main material on this one, I'm going to be using cardstock and then just a cracker box. So yeah. Next we're just going to go ahead and do our sketch, like our little rough draft. Make sure to come up with your own sketch. Please don't steal this sketch. There are free ideas that you can go find, but it's always fun to come up with your own ideas and see what you can do. So this is what I've come up with. As I make my puppets normally, the design does change. So this is kind of just how I'm gonna lay it out though. So make sure to come up with your own idea, and if you don't like it, it's okay. Like you can change it as you're making it. Next we're gonna grab the main material. And we're just gonna kind of sketch out like the main body. You can add the jaw too if you want, but if it's gonna be like underneath it and you don't want it the same shape, for example, like on Dawn, do you see how this is like arched and stuff, but this is flat? If you're gonna have the jaw like that, just be aware that you are gonna have to draw a separate jaw on this paper. If you're gonna have it, oh gosh, if you're gonna have it like stacked on top, like the exact same shape, like Celine's, then you don't have to draw an extra jaw. Okay, now that the main head part's been drawn out, I will kind of explain more on what I was talking about the jaw wise. So if you see right here, she was sketched out, like this jaw and this head was sketched out in the exact same thing. So when you open it, this has the exact same shape as this, like it's a puzzle, it's gonna be put together. So if you're gonna have your sketch like this and you just cut it out just like that, your puppet's gonna have a jaw that looks like this, and that's what you can have on some. Just keep in mind that if you cut it right there, it's gonna look like that. Versus like on Juniper, if you were just to cut out the head and then do a different jaw, it would be a different shape. So it's whatever your preference is, just keep that in mind. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out and then double layer it with a piece of cardstock. Now that I have the two jaws, I will go ahead and explain if you wanted a different shaped bottom jaw, how you would do that. Basically what I like to do is I like to put the top head right there and go ahead and kind of just sketch out a different jaw. And then I'd mark where the top of like its highest point is. And then I'd go ahead and like draw the shape that I want. That's a really bad example, but so that it could be flat if I wanted it to. Now that this has been cut out, I'm gonna wanna double layer it. So what you're gonna do that, you're gonna put it design way down and you're just gonna hot glue it to this. And then once it is cut out, make sure that like you can lift up flaps and stuff and make sure it's all just hot glued down. Now that your puppet's been double lined, it should be a lot stronger than it was before. Mine was just double lined so it is not cracker colored. I'm just gonna go ahead and double line the back too, because like on this horn, you would be able to see the color change because it's just on the back side. For example, on this puppet, if she was made out of a cracker box and was not double lined on this side, you'd be able to see all the crackers and stuff. That's what I had to do on Juniper. I had to line her with an extra thing of cardboard so you couldn't see her popcorn. So I'm just gonna go ahead and double line this side. Now that my puppet's been double lined on both sides but has not been cut out, I'm gonna go ahead and color it now just so I don't get like marker on the table and I don't like fold the edges on accident. If you are making a cardboard puppet like this with paint and stuff, I don't paint it until she's entirely made, so you can just skip this part. If you did not already color your sketch, I would do that now, because if you start coloring your puppet and you realize you don't like it, you're gonna have to start over. Now that I've decided my colors, I'm gonna go ahead and color it. Once you have this finished, you can go ahead and do the exact same process with any other like horns or ears or anything else that might need like separate piecing and stuff. Also, a quick little thing on the ears is I like to leave a little flap if it is going to be like under the head. I hope like if this makes sense right here. Do you see how the ear is layered underneath their head? I like to leave like a little flap. I don't know if you can see that very well, but a little flap so you can glue it on better and it's more durable. And then draw the hair on the ear so you can line it up right where you want it. So here's a close-up better look. Here is my little flap and here are the little hair designs. Once you have all your pieces cut out, you're gonna go ahead and trace them the other way for like the back side of the puppet. So this is white, so I don't have to double line it. If you are doing a cardstock puppet, do not just double line one side, double line it all. The only reason I double lined this puppet is because I don't want a brown shark. Okay, so now you're gonna put colored side down and you're just gonna trace it. You're just gonna cut it out and do the exact same process as everything else. Right now I'm just gonna apologize for the lighting change and some background noise, but next we are going to lay down a piece of paper right by the top of our puppet and go ahead and measure the back of the jaw and the front of the jaw. And then depending on what shape you want your base to be, you can go ahead and draw it down. I like to make it a little bit bigger Then the 2 shapes, just so I can cut it down if I need to. Just a quick example, we are going to be making 3 of these triangles. You can make a 4th one if you want this to be covered. I personally don't do it, but if you're gonna have your puppet's jaw just sit perfectly on top of it like this, you can make them all 3 the exact same size. If you want your puppet's jaw, like bottom jaw, to go underneath it a little bit like this one does, you're gonna make the bottom jaw smaller than the forehead and top jaw. Also, I just forgot to mention, if you are double layering your stuff, you can double layer the base too, or else it'll end up super wonky. You don't have to double layer your forehead though. Finally, we're gonna start assembling it. I like to start with the top jaw. You can personally do whatever you like first. I'm just gonna go ahead and line this with glue. And then, I don't know if you can see this very well. You can just put it on like that. If your dragon's jaw is gonna be flat, like his, like right on top of it, you're gonna need the top jaw to be down 100% right against the bottom. Then once I put that on, I like to just layer it on the top. I don't do it on the bottom because that catches on the jaw, but I just line it on the inside just like that so it just doesn't come apart. This is why I like to have it long, so I can cut it to the length that I like, which is gonna be right here. Oh goodness. That's okay. So now we have that, and we're just gonna do the exact same thing with the other side, which is right here. You're gonna make sure they line up evenly, or else it just will not look the best. And you definitely will be able to tell. Oh goodness. Okay, this is hopefully looking even. I'm just gonna double line it, or extra line it. Alrighty. Next, you're just gonna do that same process with the smaller jaw. Next, you can go ahead and slide on your jaw, and then you can use tape, or sometimes I like to leave extra space so I can fold the jaw up like this, and then hot glue it just like that. After you've attached your 2 jaws, you can go ahead and make rings. If you don't know what the rings are, it's basically just little like loops that basically hold your puppet in place. They're hugely beneficial for better movements and controlling on your dragon, and I highly, highly, highly recommend them. Next, we're gonna do the forehead. This is basically the last part besides just some final customizing and stuff. So what I do, you can mess up a lot on this part, so make sure to just be very careful. I like to line the whole thing, both sides, and then I just slide it in there and press. There's lots of hot glue on the top as I'm doing this, so hurry, and if you have that too, just make sure to smear that in, I guess. And there you go. That's how you make your puppet. If you want, like what I'm gonna do, I still have to add the fin and some lots more accessories. But at this point, you're basically done. After adding some extra details and stuff, this is what mine looks like at the end. I hope this tutorial was helpful. I bet all of you is so pretty. I would love you guys to tag me to see whatever you guys came up with. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave it in the comments. And if you subscribe, that would be very, very helpful. Thank you so much. Mwah. Have a wonderful rest of your day.